I know there's a lot of stuff out there with silver, like where people are probably just telling people what they want to hear. I notice anytime I have a positive note on silver, there's like people, yeah, they like it and all that stuff. But I'm going to tell you right now, there's still a lot of room for one more last drop. And I wasn't thinking this before. Like last summer, I was thinking it was going to get down to 24 to 25, 24 and a half, 25. Just dip a little bit below 26, and then pop. That's why I was holding off on buying more of it then, and we had a run up to like 35. But you know, it doesn't make sense right now, for as far as thinking being really bullish on silver, is that the markets in general are very high. Right? I mean, that's one thing, and technically they don't look right too. I mean, they're getting up to that point where, it doesn't have, just because they broke through a new high, they didn't really break through it. It's getting ready for a downturn. But all the fundamentals look bad. The jobs report came out last Friday. Now, to me, that's interesting because unemployment claims jumped a lot, and also ADP employment report dropped to 158,000 compared to an estimate of 215,000. So it's pretty bad. So, like, why is the stock market going up? And actually, you look at all the growth going on in the world, it's lousy. It's lousy. So, but the thing is, why would people pour into the metals when the stock market's correct more? They wouldn't. They wouldn't. Now, there's other factors involved. Yeah, I know about the bank runs on Cyprus. There's a lot of super heavy metals buying the coins. A lot of people buying the coins physically. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of buying going on in China. I know there's other factors. But it still could dip below 26 because I saw something by Bar None that said, they failed to go below 26. Well, you know what? If assuming it did go below 26, normally it would bounce at 26 before it went below 26. That would be the more typical thing. Because 26 has a hell of a lot of resistance. It hit 26 like 4 times, as a low recently. But more classic thought is it should go down one more time below 26 and then go up. See, now that it's moving down, I'm thinking maybe because the markets are too damn high. So I'm just getting people psychologically warned for this. But there's other factors even besides Cyprus, because the uncertainty factor, gets bullish for gold, and there's a pretty decent correlation between gold and silver. So the factors that have it going is the uncertainty in the world, and there could be, because of what happened with Cyprus, more talk about doing different things like that in Canada and Spain, and maybe not to that extent, but they're talking about using depositors' money to bail out the banks themselves without using taxpayers' money. Now, the other thing that's coming up, you see, I know the United States is not going to attack North Korea because there's quite a number of reasons for that. But, ever since Kim became, little Kim, became dictator of North Korea, just using a little common sense on the outside, and this does relate to gold and silver because it has to do in uncertain times. And if there's more war tensions, gold's going to go up, silver's going to go up. So that's the other flip side of the factors. But you got to realize, pretty much, this guy can't really control the country the way it looks like on the outside. He's not a dictator per se. There's other people that are established in the military that are under Kim's father that probably have a wee lot more say-so. So it looks like what Kim is doing is actually increasing the rhetoric because it's trying to secure his position. So maybe his actual tenure as dictator is actually in jeopardy right now. This is how I'm reading it. And actually that could lead to more conflict, which can lead to much higher gold prices. But you know what else makes me think that something might happen? Because I've heard this crap with North Korea 50 zillion times over the last so many decades. But what else I've heard, what I've read, is that they closed down the the joint industrial zone shared by North Korea and South Korea. And they haven't done that since 2009. That's a biggie. That was supposed to be. That's supposed to be like, as long as that industrial zone is still going, and it's a joint effort between North and South Korea, you know there's not going to be a war. Now, the fact that they closed it down doesn't mean there's going to be a war, but that's one of the things. If it was open, you know it's not a war. It's just a bunch of talk. So it's a step in the other direction that, for real, like the war drums are a little bit more than just drums. And I think it's over the fact that Kim is not really the leader. He's playing games to secure his position. So, but that could be very bullish for gold. But if the markets take a sudden downturn, just because the numbers aren't looking good for earnings and all this type of stuff, you see, it's going to take a little more for the earnings are going to be, the reports are going to be coming out real soon too. So, I don't know how much earnings reports are out right now. It's only April 6th, but as they come out, and considering what's going on in the markets, because they're not going to come out immediately. But say, I think you might get some preliminary financials, but most of the time people are looking at audited financials, and it's going to take a little while for that to come out. It's not going to. They're going to be. I don't know what it is. It depends on what it is, but that's going to affect the equities, because when people see this, if you see bad earnings, and actually there's been indications there's been bad earnings even over across the board in December of 2012. Now, usually on the finish of the year is like you want to make things look good. The first quarter of 2013 might turn out to be bad. And considering with the jobs report and unemployment, and also the top heaviness of how high the markets are right now at record heights, they can really seriously correct. And I can't see how that's good for gold and silver, unless some other factor kicks in, like global tensions and war or something like that. But it might not happen right away. So it's reality that silver can correct more. Now, I was going to point something out. I'm kind of, I do this like, with AdSense and stuff like that, but I'm not really trying to make money, because if I was, I wouldn't be on here. But I'm going to say this: the people that are actually in the financial world, in the accounting world, they're not going to go on YouTube and waste their time. So, I've noticed there's a lot of people out there that are bloggers and gold pumpers and dumpers and all this type of stuff. I don't know, they're not total idiots or anything like that, but they're not in the financial world at all. Not at all. But most people in the financial world do not have gold and silver. I think they're way wrong. I think they're way wrong, to tell you the truth. And I don't give a shit what happens to them if they get upside down or what. I remember being around with the real estate, not that I was a broker in that or anything like that, but I was more in the financial part of it, doing accounting work. And a lot of people got upside down. But there's a lot of things I tell them what to do, and they don't do it. They're just... I always say, grab the money and run, man. That's my number one rule. And it's what you got right now. It's what gets wired now. When it's actually in your account, now is what counts. A lot of people don't realize that shit. So, that's the other thing with metals, too. You got to keep that in mind, because when it does go up, dollar's not going to oblivion. The guys that are telling you that stuff are blowing smoke up your butt, man. I don't give a shit how much debt there is. I don't think they're going to totally kill the dollar. I don't think so. I think they're going to greatly devalue it, but I don't think they're going to totally kill it. They can't. I don't think they can. If that happens, I think we're going to a lot more shit than you're going to worry about than just the dollar going down. But most of the people on YouTube are, I'd say, freaking all of them. Actually, anybody that would even bother to go on here is somebody that's selling for some shit for his software, for his trading secrets, which you'd never give out in public. Or they're selling some kind of they're a brokerage firm or invest with me or some bullshit. They're selling something. I'm kind of like not. I'm I don't really give a shit too much, to tell you the truth. I shouldn't actually be messing with this shit, but I am. That's just the kind of person I am. I'm like a stand-up person, so I will, I'll go against the grain and shit, that kind of crap, for real. But don't be afraid to sell some silver and gold when it does go up, and I think it's going to crap out a little bit more, to tell you the truth, man. This stuff, it's not... I know Bar None said that stuff, but you know what? That don't mean nothing, man. I'm not trying to knock him or nothing, but that don't mean nothing. The fact that it failed to go through 26, because the markets look like... I'm looking at this shit, and I'm saying to myself, well, the first quarter financials are coming out now, and that's usually, if you see really shitty financials on a stock, you want to be the first one to see them, because then you sell them and then let the other guys see them, and it's down. But that's the way it works, man. That'll affect equities a lot. That's what Mark Faber says. But you know what? What Mark Faber is telling you there is what everybody in finance and accounting and stuff knows. It's simple. The earnings just went way up, so the stocks, it's not a perfect ratio, but it helps with the stock price. But if you got a bunch of shitty earnings, and I think we got to have a bunch of shitty earnings. I mean, figure it out. Look what's going on with the jobs report, and look what's going on even with the commodities, because all the commodities are down, which means production's down. Actually, remember I was talking about it a year ago, which, it's not an actual Bloomberg report you can look up. It was the garbage index. But that was extremely revealing, because it told me that the GDP was bullshit. Like, the GDP was going up. But in years past, the garbage index, which is like the number of freight train cars of whole garbage being hauled someplace, for the different sites, the amount of that, so how much garbage is being hauled out, and the GDP as an extremely high correlation. But for some reason, they separated a great deal in the last year or so, where the GDP is up here and the garbage index is down here. It means, normally people are buying more stuff, they're throwing away more stuff. It's a little common sense, man. Actually, it's shit that financial people don't even look at. So, I think the middles can pull back a little more, but it's going to change. It's going to change. Now, actually, most people in accounting and finance would never do what I do. I put most of my money in precious metals. But I'm a risk taker, and I think it's going to play out. It's not just guys, I didn't put in like leverage or some shit. I mean, I got in like regular stuff, like electronic and stuff. But hey, and I got some of the, I got a little bit of the, I got some of the mining stocks too. They'll play out. I ain't worried about it. Because, but I think you're going to find that a lot of the financial people are going to get caught upside down too. Big time. Because they're almost like a bunch of Dilberts. They're looking at little things, all day, but they don't see the big picture. That's usually their problem. I don't like working with them, man. That's one reason I'm probably going to stick with this YouTube, to tell you the truth. I can't stand those fucks because, as an accountant, I'm talking real plain now. I could talk very professional if I want to, though. But as an accountant, I'm also somebody who works out a lot, knows a lot of hands-on. I don't discuss any of this kind of stuff in the offices or anything, because when you bring out something about, mechanical know-how on a Harley Davidson or something like that, they automatically make a judgment of you that you're an idiot in every other area. So I don't bring that out. But on YouTube, I can do anything I freaking want practically. So I kind of like this shit in a way. So I'm gonna stick with it. But to tell you the truth, you're probably getting better advice from me than you are from people on YouTube, because the real financial people that actually know stuff, they're not gonna do this. They get $150, $250 an hour. I mean, I've seen attorneys, sometimes people are stupid. I've seen attorneys like $350 an hour looking up, I don't know, bank information, But that's what they'll charge, I mean, it was like some shit somebody else, anybody could look up. I could have, anybody could look it up. I could have gave it to somebody to look up, and they would have looked it up. But basically, the real big professional, big bucks professional guys that really know some stuff, won't be on here. They won't be on here at all. But most of the big bucks professional guys are not in gold and silver. But I find it interesting that Mark Farber is, and considering that he advises a lot of clients, that actually bodes very well for the future. Just beware, there may be one more last pullback. I'm not a bankster. I'm not telling you that. I'm not selling any freaking silver. There might be. I'm not 100% sure. Just because this stuff didn't go through 26 right away, that doesn't mean nothing. There's something coming up that can drive the general markets down, and you add this, there are other things. There's a lot of things out there that are showing that the stock shouldn't be that high. But what's going to be coming out is all the quarterly earnings reports, and that could very well drive the markets down further. And then once they go through certain resistance points, it takes a life of its own, which can bring down the metals even more. But I don't think it's going to last that long. For you people patiently holding off forever and ever, but it's going to be worthwhile wait. And if you are in a upside down, like I'm not gonna, I won't have to. I got plenty of cash, so I don't give a shit. I mean, I should actually say I want more cash, but I don't know. I might be missing. The way I'm looking at it is I like looking out for myself, because I could be digging up more and more cash working, doing accounting jobs, but I also realize I could be having tunnel vision like a Dilbert and miss something big. That's why I'm staying on my feet and staying loose. But anyway, I'll keep up on these videos, but just be aware that there could be a pullback. It does look that way. The two reasons. Okay, you had the jobs report came out, was lousy, very high unemployment. Actually, the ADP employment report dropped like a ridiculous amount compared to the estimate, 158,000 versus 215,000. And the earnings they're gonna suck. They're gonna have to, Yeah, in corporate world, I would say that anyway, because then he says some shit. Anyway, I'm very upfront, and even in the corporate world sometimes, but I can turn it off when I have to. I'm not in that world right now. But the thing is, the earnings are going to actually be lousy this quarter. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Because looking at what's going on with the commodities, that's a good indication of how much, trade is actually, and production is actually going on. Also, look at what's going on with Japan. They're doing a record QE. They're going into uncharted territory. I mean, that can be bullish for gold and silver, but it also tells you the economy stinks. It's going to be bullish for gold and silver ultimately. But in the meantime, we might have one last pullback. A little further. It may be. I'm not sure about this, but just beware. Be psychologically prepared for it. But hang on, because do not believe in the fiat cash holder bullshit, because the people are telling you hold fiat cash and that's your safety. They're flat out wrong. You need to have some cash, but it's going to turn around. The people are going to be holding fiat cash long term. They're going to get clobbered. They're getting, and that's going to include most of the financial people too. Actually, because a lot of the things they're holding are probably not going to be safe. One of your better safeties is going to be gold and silver, but just be prepared for one last pullback. It's possible, very possible.